Hey, okay, so I wanted to talk about Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. I've had a chance to play it, and so basically the game takes place in 1935, which is a little bit before Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It starts out you're in Ceylon looking for a treasure, and this Nazi by the name of Von Beck is also looking for what you want. And after you get the treasure, you go back to New York, and in your classroom, you are confronted by a Chinese agent and his assistant, and an agent or an official, and they talk to you about the Heart of the Dragon, and which was once owned by the first emperor of China, and they want Indiana Jones to get it before it falls in the wrong hands because, of course, the Nazis are looking for it. So, first of all, these graphics. The game was released in 2003. It was released in 2003, and the graphics are so much better. Remember what I said about Infernal Machine, how it's really boxy and everything? Yeah, these graphics are so much better. Oh my gosh. So now I haven't been able to find where I can change the difficulty level. I actually had to use a cheat code. I'm not proud of it. I've been playing games since I was 3, so and this is the first time I've ever had to use a cheat code. Now, with the other two games, there was a difficulty level. This one, I haven't been able to find it. But it's extremely difficult. And I got to thinking about it. It's like, you know what? This is difficult for me as an adult. Like the other two were difficult for me as a kid and teenager. So I actually like that. I don't like the fact that I used a cheat code, but I'll get over it. Now, Indiana Jones is voiced by someone else. I actually don't have a problem with that. I know that I voiced my problems with the voice actress for Sophia, but this one, it's not a problem for me. I actually, I do miss the other gentleman. I'm blanking on his name right now, but because because the way he would deliver lines is just, it sounded like Harrison Ford. This guy, um, he has a flavor of Harrison Ford, but not as much as the other gentleman. But it works. It really does. I don't have a problem with this fella. However, the animation, this is supposed to be before Infernal Machine, and actually, Infernal Machine Indiana Jones looks a lot younger than this guy, this Indiana Jones. So, yeah, this one he looks a little tired. And, so when you compare them, yeah. So, now, some of the problems that I have are like, I'm not asking them to hand out like med kits and that kind of stuff like candy, but my gosh, considering all of for instance, I just finished Prague, and I'll get to how they lay out the game in a second, but there's the courtyard. When you go into Prague, you go into this castle, and there's the courtyard. And when you're in the courtyard, of course, there's just bad guys everywhere. And my heavens, I mean, for as much as you're fighting off these bad guys, um, they should give you something. And from what it looks like, you can only carry 3 med kits. Now, in the other games, you could carry unlimited. This, they're only giving you 3, and then you have a canteen. And that's the other problem that I have. In Ceylon, you pick up a canteen and it actually extended your health, but only for that portion, for that level. When you finish that level, then the canteen was gone and it went back to... That doesn't make any sense to me. Why did they take away that? That made absolutely no sense to me at all. That's like taking away the bullets that you picked up that level. Then they should take away the bullets too, and the weapon. I mean, really? And the bullet ratio, I'm still trying to figure out. And yeah, but anyway, I mean, maybe I'm just weird, but I'm not. Anyway, so, but yeah, and when you're trying to fill your canteen, you can only fill it at a fountain. Now in Ceylon, there are waterfalls everywhere. Why can't you fill it? Because there was at one point where Indy is just dying. I mean, he's right next to a waterfall, and I couldn't fill. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Come on, game. So yeah, those are some of the problems that I have. Now, like, I'm in Istanbul right now. And now the way that the game is set up, before I go further, the way that the game is set up is it has the location. So like Ceylon, Prague, Istanbul, and then I haven't checked to see how many places there are altogether. But they have a location and then it's broken down into different chapters. So like with Prague, there was how you get into the castle, and then there's the courtyard, and then there's the armory, getting into the armory, and then there's this thing, and then there's that thing, and then you have a boss with every place that you go. And so I actually I actually like how it's laid out. And but like I was saying, with Istanbul, you meet up with the assistant again. And she's like this little ninja warrior. And at one point, Indy is surrounded and she helps out. But in my game anyway, there was a point where she was just punching Indy out. I'm like, wait, I'm on your side. And I thought the Skyrim glitches were fantastic. That just made my day. I just laughed. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. It's like, wait, no. And so, but there are things that they have in there that are just like, this is kind of overdone. Because like in Prague, there's one level where it's like the running out of windows and grabbing chains. It's overdone. And it's like they depended on it. Now, granted, does anybody else remember these games? Like during the Atari days, especially the 80s Atari, they had a lot of these games where the guy would be sitting, the little man would be on the edge of a cliff or something, and then you had like all these ropes and poles and stuff, and you had to jump across to the other side. I think my grandma still has that game. Oh, my cousins and I would just tear each other apart to play this. It was a video game. Just, but yeah, there were all kinds of games like that, and they would use different, like cartoon characters too. I mean, it wasn't just a generic little guy, and so I'm used to it. But at the same time, when half the level is having to do that, it's kind of irritating after a while, and especially when you miss and then you have to do it all over again. It's like, so yeah, but for the most part, I mean, yeah, the graphics are a lot better in this one. 2003 graphics are more updated because I love Infernal Machine, I really do, but the graphics seemed outdated even for 1999. This one, so much better. The gameplay, now for me, I'm realizing that I'm still in Infernal Machine mode, so it's like the controls are really confusing for me, and I'm trying to get out of that. So you can't go by me. But the other thing is that I have never used a game where you can use a mouse and the keyboard at the same time. I've never encountered that before. So there's that. And of course the game is for other platforms as well. But yeah, that's a first for me, and sometimes it gets really irritating. And but anyhow, so yeah, but um the storyline so far I'm enjoying, and again the graphics, and but there are of course some flaws with it and everything. I i like how it's laid out with everything. I am actually very excited. I really want to play it for the channel, but again, I'm holding back on that. I want the dust to settle and see where things go from here and everything. So but yeah, this will be one that I will definitely play for the channel. And so if you've never played it, I definitely recommend this. I'm having so much fun playing it. So, yeah, definitely. So anyway, yeah, that's Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb.